The blizzard had been endless for over a week now. Sevensport was a white blanket, lost in time, frozen. The cold even managed to cut through the deep stone walls of the castle. Sitting in his chamber next to the fire, Enger threw another great weirwood log onto the flames, cursing. This cold was like nothing he'd ever experienced. It cut deep to the bone, and no matter what he did, he just couldn't get warm. He'd heard tales of the winters of the north, but nothing could have prepared him for just how severe it was. He'd not stepped foot outside for days. His Andal settlers and smallfolk had it much worse, however. Enger's new land had been prospering greatly in the past few years. New houses, roads and upgrades to towns and castles had all took place, as well as the building of many great septs. The savage firstmen of this land had been easier to win round than first fought. Many had accepted the Andals once they'd seen firsthand the great changes of advancements Enger was implementing. Some even started to intermarry with the invaders. Slower, but still progressing, was the introduction of the Seven. Many northern men had cast aside their fake gods for the true gods, finding the warmth and comfort of the great septs more appealing than the damp, dark, cold woods. Obviously, there had been resistance in the earlier days. Some of the most savage of the first men had even took to stealing away Andal settlers for dark, cruel human sacrifices to their sacred trees. When these were discovered, Enger had them all butchered and the trees hacked down and burnt. The conversion of the old gods to the Seven had been much greater since the arrival of Septon Howland from the south, a pious man fully devoted to the Seven and spreading the faith to these new lands. He arrived guarded by a great knight named Johann Goldheart, the son of another great knight who'd settled some lands in the golden lands of the so-called Kingdom of the Rock. Enger had great respect for both men and had grown very fond of them. Johann claimed to be the greatest jousters to ever live. It had been some time since Enger had enjoyed the excitement of an Andal tourney. When these blasted winter ends, you will help me arrange the first northern tourney and show these first men the joys of jousting, Enger promised excitedly. I cannot wait to test your lance, Sir Johann, to see if you're as good as you claim. A great tourney would hopefully further help intertwine the two races of Engor's new realm. Once winter was over and the tourney out the way, Enger planned to start making plans to expand his realm. He didn't want to remain just some petty invader. He wanted to be a king and carve out a great kingdom like the Arryns to the south. One that would live on for generations, where his name would live on in legend. He'd have to start small though, and the lands to the east looked ripe for the taking.